Welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be discussing Oh, My Assistant by MILA. Now before we get started, there will be spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiling this manhwa, go ahead and click off now. No worries, I'll catch you next time. Now for those of you left behind, let's go over some content warnings. There may be references to suicide, homomesia, and assault, as these things do appear in the manhwa. Now, if that's all good with you, let's go ahead and get started. As always, let's start with a quick synopsis. Seonho is a talented adult webtoon artist. Unfortunately, though, he cannot get it up because he spends all of his time drawing naked people. If this isn't distressing enough, he finds himself overwhelmed by all the deadlines and work associated with the life of a webtoon artist. To alleviate at least one of his problems, he hires an assistant named Myung. Not only is this guy astute, talented, and makes work more manageable, but he unexpectedly fixes another of Seonho's problems. Myung turns Seonho on. Unfortunately, it seems Myung is the only thing that turns on Seonho. Still, Seonho can't approach him because Myung made it clear in his interview he is not interested in forging any personal or intimate relationships at work. That boundary doesn't seem to hold up though when one evening after drinking together, Myung and Seonho end up kissing. Naturally, Seonho counts this as a win, but big surprise when Myung brushes it off as if nothing happened. What's worse though is Myung already has a boyfriend, so what did their kiss mean? Seonho wants Myung, but he also doesn't want to lose his amazing assistant. So can the two find the balance and become more than just coworkers, or will Seonho's pushing ultimately push Myung away as both his assistant and potential partner? To start out with, you might as well go ahead and add this to your must-read list if you're a fan of BL romance manhwa. This is an amazing one, and there is a censored version if you aren't a fan of mature comics. Note that this review is specifically for the mature version. I haven't read the censored version, so I can't comment on its quality in comparison, and it may differ slightly from the censored version. Nevertheless, this is a beautiful story, and thankfully leaves out many tropes we see in most BL manhwa, while adding some interesting twists of its own to the familiar tropes we usually see. One thing I have to get out of the way, just because I was so pumped when I saw it: no lightsabers. If you're not familiar with mature manhwa, particularly BL manhwa, the genitals are often replaced with bright white lights in the shape of said genitals. That's not the case with this particular manhwa. I nearly dropped my phone when I didn't see the standard lightsaber I've grown accustomed to. It's a really nice change and makes this feel much more down to earth and wholesome. It didn't make it feel dirty at all. Another treat we get is a nice bit of self-reflection from Seonho. I find that one trope we get is that one of the two male protagonists just can't accept the fact that he might be gay or bisexual. While Seonho does do some questioning, he ultimately accepts his identity and is proud of it in a way, which is super refreshing. This is especially nice since some of the trauma Myung has to work through is that his first love and first physical relationship was with a man who couldn't accept that he liked being with other men, and as a result, mentally and physically abused Myung. Seonho is a proud, shining ball of light that is happy to be with Myung, and Myung desperately needs that reassurance. Add Seonho to the pile of precious beans we must protect because he deserves it and then some. Now, something I both love and hate about this is the quote villain, unquote, of the series, Junseok. He's this super weird side character that's obsessed with Myung. Though he claims not to be gay from the beginning, he realizes that he's in, quote, love with Myung. Now I say, quote, love, in quotes, because what he may think is love manifests in this creepy, controlling, stalker kind of thing. There's a point where he gets into an unfortunate accident and might not be able to walk again, which he uses to monopolize and guilt Myung into spending all of his time with him, even though Myung is in a committed relationship with Seonho by this point. I say I love him because he really is a villain. He's so weird and creepy that you have to hate him, but he's brought down to earth by this unfortunate accident. So as much as you don't want to, you do ultimately feel bad for him in a way. However, I hate him because he is such a crappy person. There's a point where he fakes a suicide attempt just to keep Myung from leaving with Seonho on a trip, and that's just unforgivable as it is. The worst part though is that Myung just goes along with it and doesn't care once it's revealed that Junseok lied about the suicide attempt. I was absolutely disgusted by both Junseok and Myung because they continue to carry on this disgusting friendship when it's clearly not healthy for either of them, and it only hurts my sweet Seonho, which is unforgivable in itself. Something else that I have to bring up is the good old standard trope of needless miscommunication and misunderstandings. Their whole issue from the very beginning is that neither wants to talk about anything, which is beyond frustrating. 99% of their problems would have been solved if they just sat down and asked, how, what, and why. But then the story would be much shorter than it already is. We also wouldn't have gotten some of the cuter and sexier segments of them fantasizing about each other, which I am very grateful for. I did want to bring this up though, as misunderstandings are a common trope that some people try to actively avoid, so if you aren't a fan of that, you may want to skip this one, though I would say it's worth it in this case. Before I wrap up, I'd be doing this excellent little series a massive disservice if I didn't talk about the art. It's adorable. Seonho in particular really stands out in the style and looks absolutely adorable. It's wholly unique, and I've yet to find anything even remotely similar in style that isn't drawn by the same artist. It is a bit rough around the edges, but that just gives it more character in my opinion. If you're a fan of cute art styles, then you'll love this because it doesn't get much cuter. With all that being said, if you're looking for a refreshing, pretty, and lovey-dovey BL manhwa, then look no further. This checks all those boxes and then some. I think it goes without saying that I absolutely adore this comic. Much like I do with all the comics I read, I have a folder dedicated to screenshots from this that I frequently find myself returning to just to relive the beautiful and sweet moments in this one. I can't recommend it enough, and I think you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you pass on this. So, have you read Oh My Assistant? If so, what do you think? Do you agree with my assessment? Do you not? Let me know and comment below. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time. Bye!